Okay, so we have 0.310, 3 decimal places, but what's going to happen when I use the green checkbox, we get 4 decimal places. So again, we need to change the precision of the decimal. So let's press escape a couple times because we're in the dimension command. And then let me right click and go to dimension properties, and let's change this to 3 decimal places under document settings. Okay. Now let's double click on the dimension again, use the arrow, go to tolerance, and let's change the type to limits linear. So the lower limit will be 0.310, the upper limit will be 0.312, and then OK, and then green checkbox. Now finish sketch. Alright, and you notice that the part that was sliced before comes back. We can use extrude, and if you go in this area, even though you can't see it, you will be able to select the circle. If you can't for some reason, you can always go into view and the visual style, and you can change that to wireframe if needed. Okay, but probably won't need it, so just locate the circle. Now this time we want to cut, but we want to cut in both directions. So let's select cut first. We want to select both directions, and instead of a distance, let's select all, and then OK. Okay, so now we have our circle properly located at the correct dimensions. Alright, so we're moving along. So now let's move into this area. Alright, so again, let's use the XY plane that we used before to sketch on. So create sketch, XY plane, and again, let's use that F7 key so we can see the inside. So let's create the little notched out section up here at the top. What I want to do is use project geometry, and I will click the top edge of the object. Okay, it brings that edge into the current sketch so we can use it. Okay, so now we can actually, it's clickable. So let's use the rectangle command and let the first point be on the line that we just projected, and then bring the second point over to the left. Okay, just somewhere. So with the rectangle, we have to have 2 dimensions to size the rectangle, and then we have to have a dimension to place it. And I just say a dimension to place it because we just constrained the top line of this rectangle to the top edge of the object. So we don't have to worry about placing the top edge. We just need to replace one other edge and size 2 edges. So this will be 0.88 in that direction. And then the depth is actually measured off the center point, okay, or the center axis that runs through the object. So let's do this. Let's use project geometry again and click on the x-axis, and you can see the x-axis runs through the object. So I'll just click on the x-axis, and the only reason I'm doing that is so I'll have something to dimension from. So now I can click general dimension, select the line that was just created through project geometry, click on this line, bring the dimension out, edit it, and change the value to 0.12. Okay. Now we need to place the rectangle from left to right. Okay, and all we have to do there is dimension, and we can use the line that we projected up earlier, that line to that line, and that dimension needs to be 1.44. Okay, so now you can see our sketch is fully constrained and we're ready to extrude. So finish sketch and then extrude. Again, we want to cut, and we want to cut in both directions, and we want to select all as our option. So okay, so here's our object coming into creation here. Alright, so the next part we're going to have to do something a little bit new. Okay, we're going to create a work plane is what it's called. Now up until this point we've used the default planes to sketch on, but we're going to create a work plane But we're going to start off with one of the default planes. Okay, so just temporarily, I'm going to turn on the XZ axis that runs through the object. I'm going to turn on the visibility. Okay, I'm going to right click on it and select visibility. Alright, and now I want to create a work plane that is offset from this plane. Okay, so I'm going to use the down arrow under plane, and my inventor's acting a little funny because I have too many things going with the video and everything. Okay, so I selected offset from plane as my option. I'm going to click on the default XZ plane, okay, right here, and then I'm going to pull down. I'm just going to pull straight down, okay, and you can see that since I'm going down, in this case I have a negative number in front of this. So if I were to just press the green checkbox now, I would have a plane offset from the original plane by negative or 1.0625 in the downward direction. I don't want it that far. I just want it to be aligned to the bottom of the cylinder, basically, which if you remember from our very first step, our diameter that we assigned was 1.4590. By the way, you don't have to be exact with this. I'm just showing you how to create an exact work plane. I probably shouldn't say that, but I could just forget what I just said. All right, so I want to take 1.4590 and divide that by 2. Okay, so I want to offset this by 0.7295. I'd rethought what I just said, and you do need to be exact with this. All right, so negative 0.7295, and then the green checkbox. And the plane that we just created is now located at the very bottom edge of the object. Okay, it's tangent to it. All right, so we're going to sketch on that plane now. We're going to use the plane that we just created as our next sketch plane. So create sketch. Pay attention to your orientation here, how the part changes when we click on it. Okay, so it flipped around to the other side, so we want to sketch on the bottom. Yours may not have done the same thing, but we want to sketch below the object. Okay, so turn yours around so you're looking at the bottom. Okay, now they give us a partial bottom view in the book, and that's what we're going to basically, we're going to cut that part out into the object. And so we need to locate it and draw the sketch. Okay, so probably what we need to do is let's use project geometry again, and let's project the x-axis that's running through the length of the part. And we want to create a circle with a center point just somewhere on that line. Okay, let's dimension that circle, and I will make this a diameter of 0.38. Okay, and the let's see. From the top of the circle, draw a line to the left, and from the bottom of the circle, draw a line to the left, and then connect the dots basically at the end. We want to trim what we don't need. Okay,